underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Beyond.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Beyond, episode 327. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside, he only does everything, Colin Moriarty. That third voice is none other than my Italian meatball, Brian Albano.
Captain Lou Albano.
Captain Lou Albano. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Goldfarb is not here. He's gone to DICE. But on his way to DICE, he also announced he's quitting IGN. Next Podcast Beyond, episode 328, will be the final Andrew Goldfarb podcast.
Correct.
That's after 2.5 years here.
Well, he might come back as a guest. I mean, you guys.
He's not dead. He's always allowed back. Yeah, everybody always comes back to Podcast Beyond eventually. You can't get away from it.
And we can't say where he's going yet, but it's different. But also similar.
Oh,
no, very
I'm intrigued.
good.
I hope you are too.
Very good.
Listener. So, anyways, check in next week, of course, for Goldfarb's last show.
Let's say he's just going to some uncharted territory. No, that's not true. He's not going to Naughty Dog.
I don't think he's going to Naughty Dog, but I did hear he's going around the bend.
No.
Also not true. Or maybe it is. Who cares? The only person that could replace Andrew Goldfarb, of course, though, is this bottle of Lubriderm. I'm going to oil up this whole show, I decided. I think my skin was hurting when I came in, and I'm like,
Isn't
wait.
it fantastic?
This is like the one time where I don't have to touch a computer or anything. I could totally rub down myself with the skin. People at home,
rub myself down with the skin?
They watched it on the PlayStation 4 app. They get to see me lube
rubbing
up my
down
arms.
Right now.
But if they listen to the show, they get to hear it.
Are you generally a dry man? Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, I'm super.
That sounds like wet.
My skin hurts, and it's one of those things that I'll forget to. This is the worst podcast. This is the worst show we've ever done.
Give me some cream.
It's good though.
Oh, Lubriderm's so good.
It's so good. But the problem is if I put it on before I walk Portillo, then I'm touching leashes and doorknobs, so I can't do it like then.
Right.
And then on the train, you got to hold the bar, and then you get here, you got to use your computer.
You slip it all over the place.
Falling down, breaking my arm.
Oh,
It's the worst. You can't do it. Ladies and gentlemen, Podcast Beyond is the internet's number one PlayStation podcast somehow. Let's begin it with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. You look mystified by it, Brian.
Does it just dry eventually?
Yeah.
Okay, it's
just you don't want to use too much. You don't want to use too much. It's actually, by cream standards, by lotion standards, not very wet.
Not wet? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's putting it on his mouth.
Oh, you got to put it on the face. Like, when I shave, instead of putting, like, aftershave on it, I put Lubriderm on my face.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christina always tries to yell at me and say that it's not meant for your face. I'm like, it's all skin.
Cheryl says that too, and I'm like, you're just too caught up in the fucking hype with all these different lotions and ointments.
You bought into big lotions agenda.
All I'm saying is Lubriderm's great for everything, head to toe. Everything. Say it.
Even uncharted territories.
Yes.
Even the bend.
Let's just say that Goldfarb would have been a sucker if he didn't take that job. None of these things are true, by the way.
Let's just say he's going to work for DC Universe Online.
Number one. Rockstar's parent company Take-Two has revealed that Grand Theft Auto 5 has shipped a staggering 32.5 million copies of the game. Take-Two also revealed that it has shipped 5 million copies of NBA 2K14 and 8.5 million copies of Borderlands 2. I don't like ship numbers, but...
most of those GTAs still on the shelves.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Only a few million of those have sold.
Yeah, they only sold a handful. A couple of those.
Huge
the rest
sales.
of them just kind of, they're still out there. You can get them just in the Walmart discount bins next to Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey DVD.
on VHS. That's it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's huge.
I got nothing to say. Yeah, good for them. I think we already knew. Now the numbers are just nonsense. You can say any giant number with a million or a billion.
68.4 billion copies.
Makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Sure.
You keep talking about it. I know it's a big game. You've talked about this before. I get it.
Yep. Do you think anybody's going to learn anything from this? Does anybody go, man, we shouldn't put out a game every year. We should put out a game every 5 years?
Yeah, but I mean, the game was in development for 4 years or so. They sold, much higher than Call of Duty sells, but Call of Duty games come out every year and they sell 15, 20 million. So they're probably still making more money.
Yeah.
But these games are about, I think Call of Duty is of a high quality, actually, but Grand Theft Auto, one studio, doing their thing, or kind of a little conglomeration of little studios.
Yeah, I mean, it's so rare that you're allowed to focus on that. You look at games that have like the cachet that could do it, and you think like, okay, Assassin's Creed, right, can take time off, but Ubisoft depends on them so much for their bottom line that you can't take it. You can't take what I mean. Watch Dogs isn't even out. We don't know when the driving game. I mean, there's all these different things where somebody needs to be making money for the company. And so if Assassin's Creed is that's great. Whereas Take-Two can say we have other properties to take care of you while you guys go off and do this.
That makes sense. They can.
It's similar to like I think we always talk about it, that it's an unaccepted universal truth that Rocksteady's working on another Batman game. We all think it's a next-gen Batman. Then we start arguing about it. So all of a sudden, WB knows how much money those games make. So now we're going to try to maybe not annualize, but every other year, you know what I mean, by putting out the WB Montreal team to work on Origins and do all these different things. You have someone who's still bringing in money year after year.
Sure. Good deal.
Gotta get some money over here. Number 2. The Last of Us' only story-based DLC, Left Behind, has officially gone gold. We'll have many more cool things coming up for Left Behind soon, so stay tuned.
Do you want to tease any of it? You can give
we
dates.
can't. We really can't.
Really?
No.
We can't give any dates?
No.
I can't talk about Up at Noon? That posts every Monday.
Yeah, Up at Noon posts on Monday.
So that's
The Left Behind comes out on the 14th.
All right, so this is the
and
Monday.
there'll be things in between now and then.
All right, so I'd say that you could see things bookending that. Probably the audio podcast, too, because remember we asked for your questions.
I heard that game's going to some Uncharted.
I heard it's up the bend.
Number 3. PS4's newest firmware, 1.60, should be live as you hear this. I haven't downloaded it yet.
Not me neither.
It will add 7.1 surround sound headset support for the console, which allows the use finally of Pulse headsets. Yeah. Some other little fixes are also included in the firmware. So just go download it so you don't have to do it later. Although on PS4, it's very easy to download your firmware. It's not this big fucking ordeal like it was on PS3.
If you just leave it in suspend, it's doing it right now. It's already done for
Right now.
Zach writes into Beyond at IGN.com, just like you can. It says, Beyond.
Beyond.
Hey, Greg, Colin, Anthony, and whoever else.
What? Anthony?
He's already forgotten Goldfarb's first
Wow.
name. It doesn't even matter to him. I'm not the biggest horror game fan, but I'm looking forward to playing Outlast. However, I do not own a gaming headset, and I feel like using one would be the perfect feeling immersed in this scary game. So do you think I should jump into Outlast or wait till I get a gaming headset? Of course, Outlast, PlayStation, I'm sure you're getting to it. PlayStation Plus. Free game comes out today for us.
Sure.
He's asking, now that headsets are supported, should he run out and buy a headset? Should he wait? What should he do?
Depends on the headphones you have now. I use my iPhone 5 headphones plugged directly into my PS4 sometimes, and they sound great. I'm sure a gaming headset sounds better.
Do you output then all the audio through the headset when you're doing that?
Yeah, when I'm doing that, just because it'll be like, my fiance's in the room reading or something like that, and I'm like, I'm going to play a game, and I'll just be in this little bubble right here. But it's great. It's great that the PS4 lets you do that.
Right.
So, if you have that option, which you probably do if you have headphones, give it a shot, see if you like it. If you go, man, this could sound even better, then go spend $100 on a nice headset.
Yeah, for me it was, I'd never used a surround sound headset until I reviewed Dead Space 2, and I got a set of Astros, and then did the whole wireless setup to have them all ready. And it was mind-blowing how great that was to play a horror game like that. All the lights off, headphones on, totally immersed. So I did love that. But now with Outlast, I don't know how I'm going to play it with having Colin bumming around the house doing an elliptical behind me the entire time, or the fact that I now have a surround...
Is this the thing? You have an elliptical now?
Yeah.
Really?
I now have a surround sound speaker setup, surround sound in the house.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I'm going to play it tonight. I'm thinking about just playing it in the other room on a little TV.
Is Outlast out today?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Free for PlayStation Plus members, which I'm sure you all are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of Anthony's, another horror game is coming to PS4 this month, not called Outlast.
Dying Light.
Anthony Gallegos is working on.
Daylight.
Dying Light. What is that?
Dying Light is the running one, the free running one from Dead Island guys.
Oh, there's too many of these games.
There are. They may have very similar names.
You have a wireless PlayStation headset at work here, right?
I do.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Okay.
I love the Pulse headsets. I love. I have the Gen 1 one here, and then the Gen 2 one at home, which was just a little bit nicer, and I use that for.
So now that they're supported, do you think I should pick one up?
Yeah, I would.
Awesome.
I mean, the thing is, I guess, as long as... I like the fact that when I play PlayStation 4 games, especially multiplayer stuff, I can just put in the earbud and take it out whenever I want to.
Yeah.
So, I feel like my need for a Pulse headset has definitely dropped.
Okay.
But the idea, if you're playing with your fiancé in the room and you want, surround sound and have it be awesome.
Yeah, I'm like Colin. I hate online multiplayer where people yelling with a headset or anything. They're all dead to me.
I refuse to talk to you if I'm playing an online game, and if you talk, I'll mute you.
Yep.
That's
as we start the Pulse headset sponsor part of the episode here, which it is not really.
Brought to you by Pulse.
Pulse headset. Get the pulse in your head.
Listen harder.
What I really like about the Pulse headset is that it's a USB dongle, but then it's universal to anything else. So you plug it into your computer, you can plug it into whatever. Like when I Skype with somebody for a podcast, when I want to listen to music off my PC, when I want to get I don't have an audio set up in my little gaming PC room, so I just plug that in.
Awesome.
You get everything.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it.
And they're cheap too.
You got the hookup?
No.
Okay.
Well, if a whole bunch of Pulse headsets roll in today, the new ones, then you can have my old ones.
See, this is what I do. Plant the flag.
Yeah.
Number 4. Sony has declared that PS4 is outselling Xbox One in the UK by a ratio of 1.5 to 1.
I declare.
A good sign for the new console. Additionally, sales of PS Vita have increased in the UK following PS4's launch by 163%. Excellent news for the struggling handheld, although that's all relative. So,
sure.
If it's selling 100 units one week, then it's selling 163.
Yeah, we had the same thing with the Wii U last year where they're like, it's up 800,000%. And it's like, well, it was only selling 8 before that. I mean, it's good, though. It's good. And I mean, the Vita's an amazing system. People need to bring those worlds closer together. And I think it's sort of on Sony, too, to keep hitting that note over and over. Ding, ding, ding. I don't know what's the same note, but that
it really means people want to make. People love running to the same note over and over again.
Just hit a bell over and over.
It's the Vita bell. We got to get home.
They just need to keep, telling people that these two things converse very well with each other. So, and they need to make sure that they converse even better with each other. Like the more that I have a reason to bust out my Vita in front of my PS4, then the better these things are, and I'm happier.
Yeah, sure.
Don't stop talking to each other, Vita and PS4.
Never stop talking.
Don't stop. Number 5. If you live in North America and have PlayStation Plus, these are the free games you can look forward to this month. Outlast on PS4, Metro Last Light on PS3, Payday 2 on PS3, Remember Me on PS3, Street Fighter Cross Tekken on Vita, and Mod Nation Racers Road Trip, Greg's favorite game of all time.
There you go.
Really?
On PS Vita.
It was a heartbreaking one. Mod Nation Racers is one of the best kart races of all time on PS3.
Yeah.
And the Vita version was totally handicapped.
That's a shame.
So Outlast and Metro go live today. This is Tuesday if you're listening to it the day Beyond comes out. Beyond. The others will come out later. Pretty good month.
Yeah?
Pretty good. Lots of discounts, too.
See, I love PlayStation Plus because PlayStation Plus is exactly, and this might hurt some people, but this is exactly what games like Remember Me are for me. Like, wouldn't rent it, I wouldn't buy it, I don't think I'd even get it for a discounted price, but I will pay PlayStation Plus every month to get a game like Remember Me. That's sort of like it's your 6.5, you know? I'm like, I'm not going to run out for this thing, but hey, I'll download it free.
If it's already part of my collection, now, I might as well.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Number 6.
Great.
Square Enix's mysterious upcoming thriller Murdered Soul Suspect is officially cross-generation. Not only is it coming to PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, but it is now also coming to both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's due for launch in June of 2014.
The game looks cool.
Yeah.
I've only seen a little bit of it. Only that one gameplay demo of it, but I like the idea.
You solve your own
You're
murder,
a ghost
right?
walking around trying to solve your own murder.
But wouldn't you know who killed you if you were there when you were killed?
No, not if you got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, it's something like that. I think you got shot in the back, and then you become a spirit. It's not like it's instantaneous.
Sounds like a Quantic Dream game.
Colin, as a living man, you probably forget where your keys are sometimes, right?
I forgot what I did 10 minutes ago.
See, we have these
I
moments.
took a dump. I didn't forget.
They're called lapses. You could have lapsed through your own murder.
Yeah.
Make a whole game
It's
out
a bad
of it.
time. It's a bad time to have a lapse.
The worst time to have a lapse.
Number 7, Sony has revealed that PlayStation Plus subscriptions have tripled following the launch of PlayStation 4. An extraordinary number considering how popular the service was pre-launch. Much of this might have to do with the inclusion of a free subscription with PS4. And the necessity of the service to use online functions, but still paints a good picture for the future.
Oh, you think? So what you're saying is the number's up because they illegally inflated the number by giving out free.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they are counting those.
Okay.
They're one. Yeah, what was it? You get a month?
You get a month. Yeah, so
you get a month.
But maybe it's people that have a month and then stayed. But they're billing you. I think.
Once you take the free
there's
month,
no way.
you're locked in.
These numbers are shady.
Yeah, it's like a drug dealer handing out drugs. He's like, oh, crack is up this month. It's like, you gave everyone crack. It's not fair.
Crack's through the roof. Buy it on crack. Number 8, Disney Infinity has been a huge success for the company, and it's now using the formula to develop Disney Infinity-like games for both Marvel and Star Wars. Disney Infinity sold 3 million copies over that, and a ton of extra toys, making it a cash cow for Disney. No surprise there. What's up?
That studio's having layoffs.
Really?
Yeah, which is like...
Really?
Good,
maybe
that's great.
Hold on for a month and then put out the Anakin toy that you can plug into a video game and then keep all those guys on staff because it's going to sell through the roof.
That's shitty. Well,
I don't manage money for a living.
My apologies to those guys. I never heard that.
Yeah, it was it's a weird sort of like, hey, we got this awesome thing, so let's slide some shitty news right underneath it.
Yeah, well, fucking Zynga did the same thing where they were like, we're buying this company for $500 million and we laid off 300 people. It's like, I understand business is business, but kind of shitty. Nonetheless, Disney's going to keep milking the shit out of that Star Wars $4 billion purchase like you wouldn't even believe.
Colin and Greg, when I hear stories like this, I go, thank God I'm not a dad right now. Because that is money in the trash.
Yeah.
Dude, you should see my friggin' little nephew obsessed with Skylanders, man. He's fucking obsessed with it.
And I couldn't even, if I had a kid, I couldn't even say no. Because, I mean, when I grew up, I was like, Mom, I need 4 turtles. And I need 8 of the Foot Clan guys. So it's not like a
Yeah, 'cause you'd buy
the
one
Rodney
Foot
King
Clan.
trial. You need a full squad there. And then I'm like, I need the alligator that lives in the toilet. And I need the giraffe that has a basketball net stuck on his head. And all the other garbage turtles that they put out more and more of. They do the same thing with Skylanders and Disney Infinity now. So I couldn't even say no. I'd have to be like, sure.
Yeah, otherwise you'd be a hypocrite.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I remember with, like foot soldiers or like Cobra officers and G.I. Joe, whatever, you'd have like all of the G.I. Joes and then like one of each kind of Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And they show,
it's
hey,
like-
what's going on here? Yo, let's beat the crap out of them. 8 dudes jump in on it. No!
One laser Viper and a
I
Cobra
swear I didn't
officer.
steal anything from the corner store. Yes, you did. You're a Cobra. Got beat up by 8 cops. It's ridiculous.
Wild Bill going fucking buck wild on your ass. Stalker sitting nearby in the
5
woods.
Thundercats beating up one old man in a robe. I'm an old mummy man. Shut up. Get out of my cat house.
Number 9. Beat Shapers, the studio behind the PS3 and Vita Star Drone games, which are good, as well as Break Quest, Furmans, and Z-Run on Vita, is bringing a PS4 exclusive racer called Ready to Run to the console in the second quarter of 2014. It's an RC racing game akin to MotorStorm.
Ooh.
RC.
My hands feel really slimy right now.
Yeah, good. It's a good thing, though.
See, this is what I had to get over. I don't like the reason my skin will hurt, and then I bitch about it, and Christine would make me put on lotion. I'd be like, I don't like it, but it feels better than hurting.
Really?
Yeah.
Feels better than hurt.
Anything's better than pain. You know what? I'm going to lube back up.
Thanks for listening. You don't need any more.
I do. My knuckles hurt still.
Number 10. Tropico 5 is slated to come to PlayStation 4 later this year.
Remember Clayface and Batman?
I do. And will mark the very first time Calypso's long-running series has appeared on a PlayStation console.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I know Anthony, that our reader brought up before, that hasn't been on a podcast beyond in 18 months. He really liked Tropico. That series. El Presidente.
I think you would like it too.
Yeah.
Tropico's cool. It looks really fun. It's weird because it's one of those games. If you look at the title, you're like, this is not what this game is actually about. You would think it's about a wonderful
fruits.
island and fruits and a bird. Maybe it's a match 3 game.
Yeah.
It's not. It's about a dictator fucking shit up.
Sounds good. Sounds perfect.
You'll enjoy it.
Sounds great.
Good, great, grand.
Number 11. Last thing. Publisher Axis has officially revealed that Mind Zero, the Japanese RPG, is coming to PS Vita in the West. It's slated for release in the spring in both North America and Europe and will cost $39.99. Now, Mind Zero, which is called Mind Equals Zero in Japan, like that's how it's written, is apparently a blatant Persona ripoff.
Ooh.
And is apparently not very good. But we'll see how it does.
You had
when it
me
comes
for a
out here.
second.
Wow.
Then you lost me.
It was apparently pretty controversial, actually. That like
Really?
how much of a ripoff it is.
Is it
We'll see.
more of
We'll
like
see, though. I don't know.
is it more of a Wild West over there?
A little bit. I think just people, they like Persona's huge, so it's like, well, let's have a game about high school kids and an RPG, and you use your mind to, won't use Personas in Persona, but this has this whole different kind of thing going on.
Did you get into Persona?
No.
No, me neither.
You missed out.
But
You
these
all
guys
missed out.
did.
Yeah, they love it. I haven't.
He hasn't
played
even
it.
tasted it. He hasn't even tried Gold.
I haven't tasted it because I keep saying Persona's the game I'm saving for when Vita finally dies, and there's nothing left to play.
Oh.
Smart.
No, it's
Go
not.
out with a bang.
You have nothing to say about one of the best Vita games of all time.
Yeah, this is your job. You get on this show with the PlayStation.
You're
thing.
hollow out. You're hollowed out. All you know is fucking dangom rapas.
Danganronpa or whatever that game is.
Danganronpa.
Donkey Kong Ronkos.
Danganronpa. That comes out next week, and it's really, really good.
Danganronkers.
Hey, if you like Phoenix Wright,
I do.
you like.
I'm probably going to
Virtue's
play
Left to Right?
dangom rapa.
You can't even say it.
I fuck around a lot.
Doggone Rampoid.
Brian,
Hey.
Dangom Rappa comes out next week, and it sounds like a dynamite
Can't
title. But if I wanted to know what came to stores this week, where would I go?
You would go to Amazon.
No, we go to the
At least he's honest.
Hey, it never fails me.
the official list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors.
You maintain this?
Yeah, we do this every week.
Yeah, we just go to the PlayStation.
No, I know.
I just go to the PlayStation. Well, we get a bunch of information that's already out.
You go to Amazon, you copy paste.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
On PlayStation 3, Adam's Venture Chronicles. It's an adventure game. Comes
Okay.
out. Dust Force, which looks really good, comes out.
I've played that. I liked
Really?
it. Yeah.
The Lego Movie, The Game, comes out.
What do
I
we
have
know
not
about
played
this
that.
one?
Lego Movie?
Yeah.
No idea. Nothing.
I don't know, goddamn.
I'm
man.
excited for
I know
movies.
that it's a movie that was made to sell Legos. That's now selling games. So fucking
To sell movies.
Put it in your pipe and smoke it.
Yep. Good time to be
Capitalism.
a dad. Suck at dads.
And Truck Racer. The game is called Truck Racer. It's $40. No
Oh
idea.
God, I love. It's like the NES all over again.
Yeah.
I love it.
PlayStation 4, Outlast comes out, and that is free if you're PlayStation Plus, and the Lego Movie is for PS4 as well. On Vita, Dust Force comes out, and it is cross-buy between PS3 and Vita. King Oddball comes out, which looks from a screenshot that I saw, a little bit like Angry Birds maybe. The Lego Movie is also on Vita, and Surge Deluxe, which is a deluxe version of the game Surge.
Oh,
if the name
clever
didn't suggest
title.
that to you.
Yeah.
On PS2 classics, Trapped spelt like the name of the band that sang Headstrong in 2003.
Headstrong, take you on. Headstrong, take on anyone.
And on PS1, Gex Enter the Gecko.
Oh,
Remember that one?
Yep.
good
Man,
old
Gex has come back.
Gex.
It's actually a good game.
He's got a leather jacket and his cool shades, ready to save the president.
Yeah, I remember the ads for it was always like him next to like some hot chick.
Yep.
And like a car, but it was like a car, very clearly a cartoon. It was.
Was it a real hot chick?
Yeah, real hot chick and a real car, and like Gex is a cartoon like next to
Was
her.
it
or
the
whatever.
scale? Was he like up to her?
No,
ankle?
he was like yeah. He was like all tiny next to her. Yeah.
So it was an ad of a foot.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, he was really tiny on it. I remember seeing it in like
It's a hot foot in a giant car.
EGM2 or whatever they used to call that.
Yeah.
That's just gonna
No
go over there.
garbage over there.
You get it? No, you're just throwing it at the back wall. All right, that's
not
where the trash goes in the new podcast room.
I'll pick it up.
I know you will. You're a good guy. You pick up what I'm putting down. Colin, believe it or not, we got a toe. Topic of the week, ladies and gentlemen. It comes from Gabe. Gabe writes in and says, "Dear Podcast Beyond crew, Beyond.
Beyond.
I recently went back to listen to older Beyond podcasts, the TGS 2011 episode in particular. A question came up about if a game about 9/11 could be done. I personally think it can be, although it would not specifically be about the actual moment. It could focus around the 9/11 moment. Perhaps you play as a firefighter who was there at Ground Zero and how he and people around him deal with the aftermath, as well as a story type of games similar to the Walking Dead games. Now that more story-driven games have come out, do you think a 9/11 game could be done and done well?" You are both right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
I'm Greg Miller, middle of the country. You were both in New York.
I was in New York City. I was on my roof on 27th and 3rd Street in Manhattan, and I watched the towers come down that day with tears in my eyes. It's weird for me to be like, I think this could work as a video game because I don't know where, and it's not even because like, oh, I think it's a sensitive thing, which of course I do, but I feel like making something that would be like a 10-hour game out of the event, like I don't know where that happens. Like, where does the gameplay happen? Like, the firefighters really were there a little during, where most of them died, and after the fact, which was basically just a lot of like cleanup. And I don't know if like moving smoldering rocks to find bodies is a fun game,
Compelling game.
Yeah, I don't know if that, you know.
I like the idea. I've said this before. I think I thought maybe I don't remember if I said in that episode that I think you could do a 9/11 game. And I agree, like, just because, you know, we are, you know, my dad's a New York City firefighter, and, like, he was there, and, like, you know, it's, you know, he's very lucky to be alive. Most of his firehouse is dead, or was dead that day. And we discussed this on Conversation with Colin, actually.
It's come up a few times in different things.
But, so, like, you know, it would be hypocritical of me to say, like, you know, I really believe that nothing's out of bounds with fiction. And that includes the things that affected me personally.
Sure.
So, yeah, 9/11's fine for you to do whatever you want with. I think the cool approach, and I don't know how people would feel about this, is to say, like, what if you play as a CIA agent or someone who, like, in the days leading up to 9/11, you learn about it and try to stop it but can't? You know, like, some sort of, like, espionage game or some sort of, like, you know, adventure style, like you said, Walking Dead style, Quantic Dream style game where it happens anyway.
Yeah.
You know, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But
it would have to be. I mean, you would take a few creative leaps there, though, right? Like, and it would have to be very revisionist historian. But it's odd because you and I are more closely tethered to this event, but we have no problem with, like, you know, these alternate future history and all these things come out, these games come out that it's like, hey, it's World War II, but with dragons. And you're like, oh, cool, this is fun, 8.5. Like, but then something like this, we're a lot closer to. So it's harder for me to kind of separate from that.
No, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I just don't. I'm not even sure it's about taste. I really think, like you said, it's about what the fuck is the game going to be.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, and I think we might have missed our window as well.
See, I think, well, the window I think actually gets bigger, right? Because I played a game like what you're describing. I remember playing on PC when I was growing up a game that was the Titanic. It was a similar idea, right? Like I was a time traveler or whatever. I landed on the Titanic and I was trying to stop it and I couldn't. Like no matter what, I think the Titanic sinks. And so I think the further, in like you're talking about World War II, the further you get away from the event, the more I think you could do something with it. But I mean, I don't know if it's I don't want to say there'll never be a game based on it, right? I could see totally like an indie Flight 93 game, right? Of like trying to figure out how to stop terrorists on a plane or whatever.
Or I mean,
I think really what you're going to see more of as we get a little bit removed from the fact is characters whose life changes based on that day, right? You know what I mean? Somebody who was in the CIA and I'm just talking about a cutscene beginning backstory where that was it. They let somebody through. That's why they're this hard-ass anti-terrorism person, and now they're out.
That makes sense. Like, there's sort of like a referential treatment there, where you're like, this is the daughter of somebody who blah blah blah. blah.
Right.
It makes more sense, and I think the reason
villains, right, who lost somebody there, who then are like out to stop all terrorism.
You know, like World War II and World War I, they lasted ages compared to 9/11, which was a day.
Yeah.
You know, and like all of the activity that happened that day, separating the war of, the war in Iraq and all that kind of stuff, which obviously has gone on to create its own sort of subsect of games. It's really just a day, and like the Titanic's a different story because it's human error, right? So I'm not saying like one gets a free pass over the other. Sure. I can just sort of see where these things get pushed under what umbrellas. Like human error of the Titanic makes it sort of feel like here's a natural disaster that was going to happen no matter what because there's ice and there's a boat, and when those two things collide, there's death.
Yeah.
But with 9/11, it's like there were terrorists, and whose fault was that, and how far back does this go, and who pissed off who, and what could have been averted and saved, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think like just a video game of you like platforming out of a fiery building is stupid. I don't want to live to see anything like that, but I'm sure we will. Like, and that's something I have to become okay with as I get older.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what good developers can do with an idea surrounding 9/11 that we haven't thought of, or that we can only massage a little bit here because we're not smart enough to make these games or whatever. Because I really do like the idea of, even what Greg was saying, something that people that are affected by it later, or, you know, what if 9/11 happens and it starts on 9/11, but then you're tasked with stopping the future event that was supposed to happen a few days later? That obviously it's like a kind of a future history kind of thing where it never happens in real life and it never happens in the game because you stopped it in the game, and stuff like that. Like that's there's all sorts of cool things that you can do about it. I think I would be eager and anxious to see someone do something like that, because I think World War II games have kind of lost touch with. Well, there's not a lot of them anymore, but they kind of lost touch with what made them so great to begin with, which was like Wolfenstein was silly, obviously, but then like I remember the original Medal of Honor on PS1 was like such a fucking awesome game. Like I remember loving that game, being like, this is so clever. You're showing your passport and like doing all these like weird things that you would never do in a shooter because it's not all about the violence and the grit; it's about the story. And and all the different operations from Normandy into the Netherlands into Belgium into Germany. And
I think there's a way to make, and developers have tried this over the years, but I think there's a way to make that sort of like there was a unnamed attack happened in this major city, and now everything is in ruins and fire and rubble, and you need to escape and get out. Like there's a way to do that without attaching it to a real life tragedy that's only 13 years old.
Right.
Not like there's a time where it's like, it's been 20 years, make the 9/11 game.
It's free, everybody
Angry
go.
Birds, but with planes.
Jesus.
No, I mean, because I'm worried that like we're going
I'm sure we talk about that in jest and the platforming. I'm sure those games have probably been created.
Sure.
I'm sure if you went into Little Big Planet and searched, you'd find something like that. You'd find iOS knockoffs and stuff like that.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, and my first thought was like, no matter how good it is or how good the idea is, a major publisher wouldn't touch it, because I think about 6 Days in Fallujah, which sounded like an awesome game, just an awesome idea for a game, and Konami was like so worried about that the game was done, and they were like, we're not putting it out, and that game just exists somewhere and it's done, and they never put it out because they were afraid of the backlash. But then I was thinking, well, you don't need a publisher anymore to make these games, and you don't actually need a publisher to make these games visible. You don't even need a publisher to publish on PlayStation platforms. Now, Sony might not want to have something to do with a 9/11 game, but there's opportunity. I think that it could be clever. I think that it can be tasteless. It can be whatever it wants to be. But much like some of these thoughtful World War II games, made it seem like more than just a conflict or more than just fighting the Nazis or the Japanese, so too do I think that it's possible.
Yeah,
that you could do something cool.
I would be more worried that, like with most things, video games, that media would just run out of hand with the box quote, or just mispurpose everything that's actually there. I mean, like, say you did a game like Gone Home that was sort of this just like, but it took place in an office, and it was about two people falling in love, and then at the very last scene, a plane flew in and everyone died.
Yeah.
I mean, would that be touching? Yeah, it'd be incredible, but people would just focus on the part in the end, because I'm sure there was billions of little stories that happened there that one day, that could have been told just like that. Some of them true, some of them not. But I worry that we're not there as a medium yet, and I think the media would just kind of latch onto the bad parts of all that, and say, they're profiting off of 9/11, or the game idea you had of the CAE guys, sort of just like the box coat would be like, can you stop 9/11? And I mean, I like the idea.
9/11 changed his life.
Yeah.
So he'll change time.
Exactly.
That's where we're going to end on?
Yeah, sure. I don't. Yeah.
No,
What happens? What was the quote that when you take everything away from a man?
When you take everything away from a man, he'll take everything away from you. Ryan Clements. So Ryan Clements classic here on podcast.
All
right. That was a good time.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys were here to weigh in. And
Of course.
I love you both.
Love you too, buddy.
See, we can be serious.
You can be.
Now let's talk about poop.
No, we're not going to do that again. Okay. Cody writes in and says, Beyond.
Beyond.
Hey,
Beyond.
Beyond crew. I recently watched Colin's Mega Man playthrough videos with him and Goldfarb commentating and really enjoyed them. I wondered if we would ever do it again. I want to see Colin kick more Mega Man ass. Thanks for everything you do. Beyond.
Yeah, I'd love to. I never did 4, 5, and 6, but 2 and 3 are the best ones, so you don't have to worry about too much about that. But
Sure.
But yeah, I want to. I absolutely want to. Those were fun to make, but I just don't. Goldfarb's not going to be here anymore, so we'll have to do it with someone else. And
You can educate me.
How's it
yeah,
going?
oh yeah,
So-
you know about Mega Man.
I love
actually
Mega Man.
perfect.
Yeah.
That would actually be perfect because the whole angle with those was Goldfarb knows nothing about Mega Man, so it's me explaining. But now we can actually kind of be funny and go back.
So
and
he
forth.
hadn't even played any. He didn't really play the NES ones then.
I don't think so. No.
Interesting.
No. And it was about me schooling him about how to play these games, but
Did he get good?
well, no, because I was just playing them. And He
Okay.
would just watch. But I can't bear the thought of anyone playing Mega Man around me. It's hard. It's too hard. It's too difficult
Yeah.
to watch the mistakes. I can't. It's like it hurts me so right here. In
Fine
the
with a
heart.
9/11 game. You can't deal with someone playing Mega Man in front
Even
of him.
Scott, when I looked at Scott Bromley, Scott would always make fun of me about all sorts of things, but he always respected my Mega Man skills. I remember he used to sit
Yeah.
and watch, and that's like one of those things where I'm just like, I'm not comfortable watching this.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
How often do you play through them?
Like once a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just sit down and go.
Yeah,
one,
I'll break.
one through
I'll
six?
dust. I'll break my Wii out of the fucking catacombs of my
Yeah.
house and plug it in. I have them all on there, and then I'll just play them. Yeah,
Awesome.
My NES. So my family owns a beach house near Atlantic City in New Jersey, and it got fucked up during Hurricane Sandy. And I'm pretty sure. I'm afraid to ask, but I am pretty sure all of my old games were there.
Oh, no.
And they're now gone. So. So I'm like terrified to ask about it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my mom actually called me the other day. She's like, "Oh, your goalie equipment's okay," because she was like down at the house because they're knocking it down so we can build another one, and with the insurance money or whatever that we got. And I was like, "Okay, that's good." And I'm kind of waiting to hear like,
I like
those
your
boxes-
mom's voice.
Yeah.
Oh, everything is okay, Colin.
"Oh, my mom's a very positive person. She's great. She handled that situation, which was fucking terrifying, like a trooper."
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to ask her about it because I have my NES, my SNES, my Genesis, my N64, my GameCube, my Xbox, my PS2. Again, all of the games, like I think we're all
Were they on
there.
the ground floor?
With this only one story.
Ah, yeah, you're in trouble.
So
that sucks.
So yeah. Anyway,
Thank God
I
the
was
goalie
saying,
equipment survived, though.
Yeah.
well, that goalie equipment's fucking tremendously expensive, but and I probably wouldn't fit me anymore.
I was going to say, you going to sell it? You going to put it back on soon? Why does it matter?
I wore it in college.
D4 in theaters.
I wore it in college, so I think it would still maybe fit. But anyway, I was saying that because I would prefer to play on NES, but I play on Wii because I have no other choice, and everything's there anyway. So yeah, I play about once a year. And you got to stay sharp.
Yeah.
You got to stay real sharp. But it all comes back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Kevin writes in and says, first off, I want to say Beyond.
Beyond.
I'm an avid listener and obviously enjoy the podcast. I'm writing to get your opinion. I like having game cases for my games to display on my game shelf, but with the design of the PlayStation 4 home screen, it seems like it would be easier to just buy digitally. I would appreciate your opinion on this. Digital. Digital's the way to go.
Yes.
I love digital.
It is for me.
Yeah.
But something I've learned recently is that there is such a thing as digital hoarding. Like, I will buy games and then not play them.
Yep.
And I do it on Steam, and I do it on my Wii U, and my Xbox One, and my 360.
I do it on everything.
Everything I have.
Yeah.
And I'll just download them, put them in folders, or whatever I have to do, and then they just sit there. Having a visual reminder that you have a game, like, physically in your house might be better for you personally as a person. For me, I don't like the clutter, but, I mean, you're just really cluttering up something else, even if it's not actually there.
Yeah, but it's not there. It's not your shelf.
there.
And see,
Sure.
I have plenty of games on the shelf that I look at and I'm like, oh, how many hours of Dark Souls did I play? Not
Yeah.
many, but there it is on the shelf staring me back. You know what I mean? Like,
So what are you going to do with it? Just hold on to it forever?
Pretty much, I guess.
Because, I mean, there's going to be a day where you're going to pack up your PS3 for good.
Yeah.
right?
Poor PS3.
Yeah, poor PS3.
No, don't be. God, we had so many good
It had a
times.
good
I know we
life,
did. We
yeah,
had a
yeah.
good. We had good.
I played my PS3 for 1,000,000 hours, so I'm not going to feel bad.
I'm not
about
ready
it
to
when
let
I
it go yet.
Yeah, I don't know what the future is for all those games, right? Because at IGN, we have this policy: you don't sell back the games we get, right? Because we get a lot of games, obviously, through publishers and stuff. So I have like giant collections.
I just have a tremendous amount of games.
I never wanted it. I hate having when I was growing up and I'd buy a game. When I'd buy the next game, I'd trade it in. I didn't want the clutter. I didn't want
Me
the
too.
collection.
I was the same way growing
And so
up.
now I have this humongous collection of games, and I've thought about it. Yeah, what do I do with it? Do I sell it to charity? Do I keep it? I mean,
Yep.
do I just bring it back to IGN? Maybe.
Don't
I mean,
sell it to charity. Don't do that.
Is that how it works? Hey, Goodwill, you want to buy these?
No, I often think about. I was saying I have like a tremendous amount of games that I've accumulated over the years, and I have my shelf is full. My shelf is so full in my room. I think you've seen it that the games are like stacked, like on top of each other and going all the way across. And it's like, and half of them are just sitting there. I've never played them, and I think I don't.
Do you have any unopened ones?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I think that eventually I'm just gonna have to just give them away. And I actually try. People that follow me on Twitter know I give away games all the time
Sure.
because I get them, and I'm like, I don't. What the fuck am I supposed to do with? I don't have time. I can't pretend like I have time to play these games. So here they are, and so maybe we should just do that. It would be cool to have like we can all put our games together one day. Maybe have like the ultimate PS3 collection and just give it away to someone.
Sure.
Like
One
all
thing?
of- yeah, like all
One
of them.
giant collection to rule them all, huh?
Yeah.
We probably because
Good idea.
between the three of us, and especially for Greg and I, for having all these PlayStation 3 games for all those years,
Yeah.
we probably have
Almost everything.
like almost like a lot.
All
you
right,
know?
so
Like,
what-
and it would be like the perfect collection.
We
with all
could
the first party
we
stuff.
could do that. Or what if we brought them all in and just gave one away every episode of Beyond?
yeah, that's
we
pretty
could
cool.
do that too. Here's your unopened copy of Apache Helicopter.
Yeah, I know. There
Warrior.
would be so many turns. Somebody gets Last of Us.
Hey
and then
man,
somebody
we were
else.
all broke in college once, like playing the same game for 6 months. I've been there.
But
Like,
can you imagine? Because it would just be that we just have people email in every week, right? And
Yeah.
then like, all right, you win this week, and then the package just arrives. They don't know. They turn out it's truth or lies.
Sure.
Like, God damn
Sure.
it!
That would be funny, Eddie. You don't know what you're getting. We
Yeah.
just pull it out of the box.
Yeah, yeah.
we'll
I mean,
figure it out.
that's like it's a free bad game better than no game at all. I think it is.
True.
Yes.
Yes.
Lots of good trophies
Well, with
in
the
it.
exception
Sure.
of a few games. If you gave me Athena on NES, I'd probably burn your house.
Same. Yeah. For me, it's Deadly Towers. I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh,
yes,
Shitty Towers.
Send this back.
Yes, Sean, baby.
Shitty Towers.
Shitty Towers. Yeah, the Shitty Towers box art.
Yeah. No. I mean,
Oh,
we
that
have
game.
we
That
do
fucking
we have
game.
a library here of games at IGN. And it's massive, and it's full of stuff, but it's also got like a ton of redundancies, and it's weird. It's missing. There's one every time you need a game, it's like it's not there.
Yeah, the
But
good games are always gone.
they're
It's
always
the
gone.
terrible games.
Like if
that are
I
always
wanted
there.
Dead Space 3, there'd probably be no copies.
No.
But if I wanted Dead Space 1, there'd probably be 12.
You want Grid? It's in there. I know there's like a million Grid.
Hey,
titles.
it's Skate 1.
There's like
the
two
DLC
versions
or whatever.
Two versions of Force Unleashed. No versions of
see-
Force Unleashed 2.
Yeah.
You should see the. I used to take care of the library before I was like, I can't do this anymore because it's driving me crazy. You should see that Wii collection, man. Oh my god, there's so much shit.
Oh, yeah.
on that console.
Yeah.
It's not even like just straight garbage. I've never seen
Straight
so
trash.
much trash on it.
I mean, I'm trying. I was actually
Oh,
I was
man.
talking with Nick Scarpino, one of the
I know him.
producers here, and a fan of your work. And I've been trying to get this thing off the ground for years at IGN, and everyone was always mad about it because the headline's kind of rough. But I wanted to do a video series called "The Worst Games at IGN," where we go into the library, pluck out a bad game, sit
Right.
down, play it, and talk about it, and do a video where we're just like, "What is this?" Because there's a couple Wii games, and I mean the Nintendo Wii was, for the millions it sold, it was a huge trash dump for
So
some
much
of
shovelware.
some of the worst shovelware I've ever seen. And shovelware is so bad that there were some games, people didn't even print names on the spine. The spine of some Wii games is blank. And you're like, what is this? You pull it off the shelf and it's like, oh, it's Kokoto Kart Racing 2. Collect all the modules in under an hour. And you're like, that's your game?
Yeah.
It's so good.
But
dude.
we have it. It's in our library, and it doesn't exist for anything but a video series like this. So I'd like to get it off.
No,
the ground
I
someday.
love that idea, and I actually, I was looking. I'm privy to, we're all are like some of the lifetime sales numbers of a lot of games, and I just love scrolling through the numbers and looking at Wii games and see like. Dude, like some of these games sell like 1 million, 1.5, 2 million copies, and you're like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
meanwhile, fucking Resistance 3 is sitting over there in the corner crying somewhere, and you're playing Backyard Baseball Brawl Time 2007 on Wii.
I mean, it's really nuts, right? Like, there was actually an era where everyone in the world had a Wii, or everyone in America at least had a Wii. Everyone. Every single family. And you'd walk into Toys R Us, and there'd just be this haggard shelf of trash. And someone would be like, yeah, I'll take, Battle Jewels. And they walk up to the counter, spend $30 Battle Jewels, go home, play it for a few hours. Like, it blows my mind, because we grew up playing classics, but we also played some bad games.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, what the IGN 10 years from now is going to be, or 15 years from now. These kids that grew up playing Battle Jewels and Kokoto Kart and Sudoku
I mean, they'll be
7.
just like us. They'll be just like us. We all bought some bad games. We
Sure.
talk about it all the time when on your Master System or NES that you ran into the crap you bought all the time. You're like, this will be great. And you're like,
Yeah, I owned Deadly Towers and I owned Athena. Those are like the two
Yeah, me too.
worst
I had
NES
them too.
games.
I got them
by
as gifts.
Oh, they're the worst.
And when you're a kid and you got an NES game as a gift, you might not have gotten another game for like 5 months.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to go to school and tell people, oh, man, you got to borrow Deadly Towers. It's amazing. Well, what do you got for me? Super Mario 3? Yeah, I'll take that. And then you would never give it back. Write your name on it. Like a little piece of shit.
The NES trades were so great, too. I remember.
Oh, my God. Remember the laws? If I borrowed a game from you and I lent that game to Greg, you were legally allowed to murder me.
That wasn't the bylaws in
Yeah.
the 1980s. Just that's how we experienced so many games back in the day. Well, we owned 20, 25 NES games, but you I remember one of my favorite games, Baseball Stars. A lot of people don't talk about that game. It's an SNK game. Super, super, super deep on the NES. Did you ever play this?
Yeah,
You
of course.
paid your players and had stats, and it was like an unbelievably deep game. It had seasons, and it saved it on a battery.
They did steroids.
Yeah, they did. Jose
Nuts.
Canseco was in there.
Oh, my God. It was amazing.
That game is still, and my neighbor had it, and I just would take that game from him all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't find it, and that game was so good. I couldn't believe how far ahead of its time that game was.
Yeah.
Because remember, when we used to play, I don't know if you guys, I used to do this, when I used to play NHL 93 or 94 on SNES, I would pick a team, usually like the Islanders, and then I would make an 82-game schedule on a piece of paper. And I would have all
Me and my
team-
brother did this too.
All my team statistics and the standings.
I did
for
it
all
with
the teams.
I did it with the Devils. I did the same thing.
Used the out of town scores.
Yeah.
And, you just there was just a random out of town scores, and I'd use them and and then I'd have this, and I'd make my own.
We did it with the with like all the wrestling games too. We'd be like,
yeah.
oh, tonight the real
Yep.
Royal Rumble's on, so we're gonna recreate the main event with all 6 characters in this game.
Right.
It's so good.
Yeah, I had scribblings of a madman for wrestling games. Like before WWF Attitude came out, and that was like where you could build your own pay-per-view for the first time.
Yep.
I had just notebooks filled with matches we wanted to do and storylines we were doing and how belts would trade and what this would be called.
Dude, when you could, the first time they let you like make your own characters in those types of games, it was over. Because
Yeah.
it was like, I'm making everyone in the WWF, I'm making everyone in the NHL, like every single Devils player was all on my team. Like,
It was so funny too,
Yeah.
because in like 94, 95 in NHL, you could trick the system into like trading any player you wanted. So you could just stack like all your players on like the Ottawa Senators and make them like much better than everyone else.
Yep.
But I remember being disappointed, like palpably disappointed when I think NHL 96 came out and it had like in-season stuff. I'm like, I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
liked it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with fantasy sports. Did you guys play fantasy sports as a kid at all?
No.
I used to play fantasy baseball with my friends in like the early 90s, and we would on Long Island, we would like it was the summer, we would go into Newsday every fucking day, like during breakfast, and write down all of the stats from the box scores of the players we had. We had to do it manually.
Yeah, no
and
thanks.
and people like take that for granted. Like fantasy sports have existed forever, but like everyone always thinks it's like Yahoo and CBS Sports. I was like, no, motherfuckers used to do that.
yeah, now
at
they just
kitchen
email
tables.
you everything. You're
Yeah.
on the train with one fat hand.
But it's almost not fun. Because
Yeah.
I remember like you didn't like it's like, oh, the Rockies played the Cardinals, and I'm a Yankee fan. I don't give a shit about this game, but it's like, oh, like Andres Galarraga hit a home run, and like write that shit down. It was awesome. That's a tangent.
Golden
Sorry.
age.
No, it was good though. That's what Podcast Beyond's all about. Every Tuesday here on IGN.com. Matt writes in and says, "I just bought a PlayStation 4 after having an Xbox 360 for about 5 years, so I've missed out on all the great PS3 and Vita exclusives.
You've missed out on literally everything. That's
When
on the
PlayStation now launches." Which PS3 and Vita game should I play first? AAA and indie. Keep in mind that
Jesus.
Vita games aren't going straight to PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Or now, sorry, PlayStation Now. Yeah. So what PlayStation 3 games, if in a perfect world PlayStation Now launches, has everything PlayStation
Oh my
3
God.
on it?
Where do you start?
I guess you start with the Uncharted trilogy, right?
Yeah, I
You
would
think so?
say that
Do you
too.
want to just jump to Last of Us? He hasn't played Last of Us. It's still a hot button issue.
I think you have to. I think that's a game. See, I think that's a special game to PlayStation fans because it's a game we had to work up to.
Sure.
Right?
I like that. I like that.
Like The Last of Us puts such a nice little. Period
cherry?
on PlayStation 3. A cherry on the top.
it's a
of
great
Sunday.
bookend. It's a great bookend of the PlayStation.
Yeah, like I feel like you should play that last.
Okay.
I feel like you got to get in the.
You start with
all
Uncharted.
the first party shit first. You know, like the other stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Starhawk.
I really like that. I like the idea of getting done with all 3 Uncharted games and then playing The Last of Us, because I think that's the reason I really appreciated it was because
You saw how
tonally
they'd
it
grown.
felt so different than anything they'd done before that. And when it did get campy in like very few succinct moments, it was kind of a throwback to the Uncharted stuff. That being said, it's Playing Uncharted 1 is only... You would only do it just to see how far Uncharted 2 and 3 came. Because I think Uncharted 1's the one that doesn't really hold up. But it's weird to just kind of jump in on 2.
Yeah, you should play. You gotta play it.
Yeah, you gotta play it. And it's short, right? It's only like 6 or 8 hours.
It's the shortest one.
Yeah.
I'd say 8 to 10.
Yeah,
right?
8 to 10.
By the end, when
so-
you're lobbing grenades with the motion, it's just...
Oh, yeah, you gotta shut that
God,
off. You
the
gotta shut that off.
motion crap.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I would start that. And you gotta, there's just... we do the top 25 PS3 games every year.
Yeah.
Just go to that list. You can Google it.
I'm tossing out Ratchet and Clank. Crack
Sure.
Time.
Crack in Time,
Yeah,
sure.
The
Infamous-
best
Infamous
Ratchet
1
game.
and 2 also,
Oh, right.
for
Yeah,
sure.
the Infamous games. I would say the Resistance trilogy is a great shooters if you want exclusive shooters.
Pixel Junk
Killzone,
Monsters. If you mix,
Yeah,
he missed
totally.
Pixel Junk Monsters.
Totally.
Every iteration of it. Now.
Stardust, Shatter.
Oh yeah, Shatter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to. I mean, this is so hard because you've
Yeah.
missed it. You
My
literally
brain's,
missed
like, racking through 10 years
You've missed
right now.
everything. You've missed everything.
That's
Yeah.
why there
Don't
is.
play Metal Gear Solid 4.
Don't play it.
No.
That's why there's a top 25
Yeah, I agree with you.
PlayStation 3 list on IGN. Go
Yeah, look
Google
that
that.
up.
Jump on that. Speaking of Naughty Dog and Uncharted, I'm going to cough.
Good show.
It's a great show. Allie writes in and says, Beyond everyone,
Beyond.
it just caught my mind. What if the next Uncharted game will be focused on Sir Francis Drake? I think there's a possibility we could actually play as Nathan's ancestor, maybe for one chapter, because he was knighted by the Queen in 1581 and died in 1596, which makes 15 years from his knighthood, and explains in the teaser video what the person is talking about when he says he suffered for 15 years in a hole.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yes. Yeah. 3 years ago, I would have said, "You're crazy. This is stupid." But
Get out of here!
get out of here, you crazy man. But after the young Nathan Drake scene in Uncharted 3, then
Right.
I'm like, yep, they can do whatever they want. This is-
Spoilers for that guy who didn't play
Yeah.
any PlayStation games yet.
He
Yeah,
dies as a kid.
You got to know, and he comes back.
Yeah.
Sully brings him back with some voodoo magic.
With a tune.
Marlowe's voodoo magic.
Marlowe's
Marlowe's
voodoo
magical
magic finally explains how
Available on
Talbot's
Wii.
able to disappear so much.
That's the Wii spit-off.
This is something that's been kicked around for a while. Before we even knew about Uncharted PS4, Colin, we discovered this pirate business.
Sure.
You remember this Last of Us documentary?
Yep.
Screen
We
cap.
broke that.
Pirate thing in the background.
Yep.
Thanks to a fan like yourself,
Yep.
Ollie. So there's been talk of maybe the entire game would be set in Sir Francis Drake time or
No,
pirate times
no,
or
no,
whatever.
no.
I don't think so either.
No,
But
no,
I think the likelihood of jumping back to Sir Francis Drake isn't a bad idea.
No, it's cool. They got to tie it together in some way, right? Like they do with some cursory stuff, like the archaeological evidence and his ring, obviously, and all that kind of stuff. But we never see OG Drake.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to see him. Maybe it's time to see him, set the seed.
I thought we found out that they weren't really. Wasn't there some?
Well,
like,
he's an orphan. His name's not really Drake, yada yada. But he's still like that's still like I don't know. Family's kind of what you choose, right? That's kind of the
Sure.
story there, right?
Sure.
That, he chooses Sully to be kind of his father figure.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing.
No, I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that,
Yeah,
especially if they did it the way they did the scene in Uncharted 3, where all of a sudden it just happens.
Right.
There's no like it. That was the best part about that was not knowing it was coming and then playing it and being like, "Wow, this is incredible!" Like
Yeah,
I
being
think
unexpected.
Yeah, like you finish a chapter in Uncharted 4 and all of a sudden it's like 100 years ago or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Same way I felt about the beginning of The Last of Us. And Naughty Dog's really good at keeping secrets.
Yeah.
So if that's something like that's in the game, we won't know until we play it. But I hope so.
Yeah,
We'll
me
change
too.
it up a little bit.
God, I can't wait for that game.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I just want to know more about it, but not know too much. I'm a jerk. Tell me something. Don't give it to me all.
We're in a tough spot for that.
Yeah.
It's a very elite problem to have, but
Sure.
when you try to go to a media blackout and you work for the world's biggest video game site, kind of difficult.
It's trouble. Not a big fan. We have another Uncharted question. Can you believe it?
Yes.
Okay. Joe Wilcock writes in and says, Hi, I'm Joe Wilcock from England, and I own a PlayStation 3, PS4, and Vita. I was just wondering if Uncharted Golden Abyss is a good representation of the franchise. I've played through Golden Abyss and was not a fan, but 1, 2, and 3 have such high ratings. Is it likely that I won't enjoy the other Uncharted because of my opinions on Golden Abyss, or is it a case of Assassin's Creed where I thoroughly enjoyed the series except Liberation?
So wait, what's the question?
He played Golden Abyss.
Okay.
Not a big fan.
Right.
So now he's like, is Golden Abyss what Uncharted is? Should I go out and try the other
So
Uncharted?
he hasn't played the console one.
He has not played the PS3 versions of Uncharted.
That's pretty extraordinary because he sounds like a pretty big PlayStation fan if he
Yeah.
owns all three pieces of hardware.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you have those are some of the best games on the console. I think so. Among Thieves is very similar to Drake's Fortune, right?
Sure.
I actually
Yeah.
think it's maybe better than Drake's Fortune in some ways. Drake's Fortune is the original though, so. But
So you're saying, two's
I'd be-
better than one, yes.
Oh yeah, and then
yeah.
3's better than 2.
Right.
No one
but
agrees
the
with that.
Vita one's better than 1.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
I
And
totally agree with you there.
And I think that they're must-plays. I would be really surprised if you played 2 and 3 and didn't like them.
For me, it's what didn't he like about Golden Abyss? Sadly, Joe Wilcock from England doesn't go into this. Is my thing. If he thought it was too long, there's way more chapters in Golden Abyss. Felt like it was going on
really long.
So that was part of it. Obviously, the mechanics are different. They've been boiled down a bit to make the Vita work. So I mean, there's none of obviously the tracing crap or the charcoal rubbings and stuff.
Yeah.
So if that's what you didn't like, then that's not there. I think when I think of the Uncharted PS3 games, right? I'm thinking of like fast-paced, pulpy action, right? Cool. Here's the story. Now we're doing this. We're smiling the whole time. Whereas Uncharted Golden Abyss, I reviewed it, and I thought it was a little bit longer though. And you were spending more time in environments as Nathan Drake. It felt like it was slower paced. So I mean, if that's his problem,
yeah. Well, when I do the same thing when I think about Uncharted 2 and 3, there's this awesome ball of everything that melts kind of together. That's like this is. Balls out action, crazy set pieces. They're paced incredibly well. They're exceptionally fun, and they're huge. And there's train crashings, and there's planes, and you're hanging from things, and big explosions. And then on the Vita, I'm hunched over. I'm looking at a little screen. I'm scraping dirt off of a tablet that I found in the woods. I'm like, okay, well that's interesting. It's fine, but you're missing. You're getting just a tiny version of, it's like the airplane.
It wasn't as epic as Uncharted.
It's the airplane food version of like the best meal you could have at a steakhouse. You know, like the Uncharted games 2 and 3 especially are some of the most exceptional video games ever made. Like they're one of those things that there's a reason they ran those commercials where people were sitting on the couch next to people playing them, being like, he's watching a movie.
Yeah.
Because they're really they're that wonderful. I think you need to experience them, and they're cheap. They're dirt cheap.
Yeah, I think you buy the whole trilogy. In one box now, right?
Something like that. Yeah, they have they do. Yeah, and you can download them for sure. All right, Colin. We have one question left. You get to pick it based solely on what I say here. We have one that's about Warhawk Day. We have one about Mega Man. We have one about Polyphony Digital. Oh wait, not the Mega Man one. The Mega Man one's already been asked. I forgot to cross it out.
Yeah, that's
so
cheating.
Warhawk Day, Polyphony Digital, or Quickfire for just you and I because they didn't put in a guest question.
Polyphony Digital.
Polyphony Digital. Hello, Greg, Colin, and Goldfizzle. Rest in peace. My name is Jared, and I have a few questions for you guys. And then he just has one question. Do you think we'll see a new IP ever from Polyphony Digital? These are, of course, Gran Turismo guys.
Yes.
You think will they always do Gran Turismo? Will they do something different one day?
Gran Turismo is their third IP, so based on they've not only done Gran Turismo, they did those Grand Prix tune kart racers on PS1, and they did Taurus Trophy, the PS2 motorcycle game. Yes, they will, and I think GT6 is selling softly. So, and there's some internal competition now between Evolution and Polyphony in terms of realistic racers with Drive Club.
I can't put Drive Club down.
So
good.
I think I got a feeling that Drive Club's it's not going to be big here necessarily. And it's not going to set the world on fire, but that's probably going to be a pretty big game.
You think so?
Yeah, especially in Europe. And
I could actually go for the Crew.
The Crew?
Yeah.
Me too.
When's the Crew getting out?
Yes, that's what I want.
I don't know. But yes, will you see a new IP from Polyphony? Yes, you will. Will it not be in the racing genre? I doubt it because that's their.
I doubt it.
That's their pedigree, and they make the best racing games in the world. So, and I'm not a racing game fan, but like they're, the sales speak for themselves on Gran Turismo. And it's not only one game. It's up until GT6, they were all selling. GT5 is the best-selling PS3 game of all time.
So, what's their next game? Do you think it's a new IP or is it GT?
I think their next game is going to be Gran Turismo on PS4. I think it's going to be a platform. I think it's going to be, like a thing like Little Big Planet Hub is supposed to be this thing for Little Big Planet on PS3 where it's more of a service. I think that Gran Turismo is begging to be a service where you pay a subscription. So I think that's what they're going to do. But as far as their next game, I wouldn't be super surprised if they return a Taurus Trophy, and I wouldn't be super surprised if they bust something else out. But they're a racing studio.
I think it's going to be a racing game starring people. And it will be about jogging.
Yeah, it'll be about jogging.
Starring some of the most realistic-looking men and women you've ever seen in your entire life.
Interesting. Yeah, they know how to do that.
Yeah. Will there be damage? If they fall down, will they skin their knees?
Runners poop themselves after long runs sometimes.
That does happen in real life. Yeah.
It happens in real life. I don't know because I don't do it.
We don't do that.
Come on.
Yeah.
Run to the store and buy food.
You come back and you just talk about making pizzas. All right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Podcast Beyond, episode 327. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember that Podcast Beyond posts as an MP3 every Tuesday. Then Wednesday, the video version goes up on your PlayStation 4 app. That's got the IGN thing. The IGN PlayStation 4 app, IGN.com, and YouTube. If you like us, make sure you share us with our friends. Make sure you keep coming back. Remember that we love doing the podcast, but IGN.com keeps the mics on. So go there, read the articles, watch the videos, download the IGN app for your PlayStation 4. Then keep up with us on Twitter. IGN's IGN. I'm Game Over Greggy. Colin is No Taxation. My big friend here.
Thanks.
Is my big fat friend.
Big fat friend.
Brian Altano is Agent Bizzle. I don't have to say Goldfarb's name pretty soon. One more time, and then I'm done forever.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. May you rest in peace.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.